a Java code from a scratch, and once we build it, how are we going to what we call compile it, create a jar, and get it integrated with the MDM hub. Yeah? So that is what I am going to explain on today's session. Yeah? So if you look at here, this is the template that will be used in order to build new plunge functionality. Yeah? So out of them, the first and foremost thing is what? We need to make sure that these libraries or jar files we call of what you could see, we need to place these files in the class path so that we can avail the APIs of what we have within this jar files. Remember, yeah? That's the first thing we need to do. And once we do that, we can start opening this template and build your own particular class functionality. So these are the what I call predefined what I call packages. In case if you want to use any predefined package, we can just import them and start getting it used. Yeah? And then we have what I call these two classes, which is class exception class and class function descriptor class, which will be derived from API, which is what? Siberian API jar file. Remember, if we extract here, where you will see those classes, what are those? Class exception as well as class function descriptor under MRM class, right? So go to MRM class API, then you will see those classes. One is what? Class exception, which you can see here. Other is what? Class function descriptor, which you can see. Yeah? So these are the two class files which will be part of Siberian API dot jar file. Yeah? So that is why I was trying to say earlier that we need to make this particular jar files, which is this, to be part of class path. Yeah? And once we do that, then we can get into what I call building a new class, which is going to be the class that will be used to build our own class functionality. In this case, CV address class, which is going to extend the functionality from another class, which we call BDDCV function, yeah, where you will have what is a common functionality which you can see as part of BDDCV function. Remember, in any programming language, what we need to do is, it is always advisable to build what I call common APIs or common what I call properties, which can be used by many other what I call subclasses or many other derived classes. So build common functionality over here and start making use of that particular common functionality within what we call other classes. You know? So that is what we are going to look at now. You know? So now if you look at this, which is a class type is what? Abstract class. Remember, which means what? Nobody can instantiate this particular class in order to make use of the methods of what we have within this particular class file. Remember, yeah? Now, this particular class is going to implement the interface, which is what? Cleanse function. Meaning what? Cleanse function again will be derived from where? Cyprian API jar file. So which means, as we looked at earlier, where we have cleanse API cleanse function. Can you see here? Which means what? This particular class will have the common interface which will be used by what we call all the derived classes. Yeah? Yes, you will get standard APIs. There is a question from Vinay. We will get standard APIs in library path after installation. As such, we don't get it. What we need to do is, we need to take care by ourselves, Vinay, which means by, in case if you want to build your own new cleanse functionality, what you need to do is, you need to make sure that this part need to be added as part of your environment. Your environment would be, let us say, uses Eclipse or Kava or what you call JBuilder or simple command line environment. Whichever environment that you are going to use, you need to take care of what you call setting this, what you call paths. But these libraries you will get it when you buy this Cyprian package. Vinay? Now, once we do that, now we are here, which means what? We are trying to implement. Implement means what? Interface, remember. In Java, extend means what? It's just like an inheritance, and implement is what? Implementing the interface, which means what? In this particular class, you will have only declarations, which means what? It is mandatory that we need to override the functionality within this what? This particular class. Like you have what I call string parameter, date parameter, int parameter, float parameter, and boolean parameter. So these methods need to be overridden mandatorily. If you don't do that, you will get errors saying that undefined references or unresolved symbols or whatever. So which means what? These are the interface methods. Which means what? Even if you don't what I call build any what I call functionality, at least you need to have do nothing method. Yeah? So at least it should be return 0 or return null or whatever. So we should have at least do nothing method, which means body need to be built as part of this particular this particular class. So same procedure. So let us talk about one by one. So this particular method, which is string parameter method, is going to take two arguments, namely name and description. Yeah? Once we do that, then it is going to return what I call one parameter object, which would contain what we have parameter dot string. So it is going to take a name and description, convert that to parameter object. So that is what will happen with what we call this particular method. Yeah. Similarly, same procedure will be repeated even for what we call date parameter, where it is going to take again string name and description, convert that to what is parameter object. So which means you are going to get the input in the form of string, but it will be converted to date and stored as part of parameter object. So similarly for integer, float and boolean. Yeah? Now rest of the methods of what you could see here, right? User defined methods. If you want, we can build it, or else it is an optional thing, which means what? We don't need to build what I call these common methods. If you want, we can build it, or else it is not required. Yeah. Now let us look at what we call one method. GetString, which is taking mapping as input and string as input. It is going to return you the string. Similarly, getDate, map and string returns the what we call date. Just like a vertical converting this string to a date. Now the next is what we have is valid indicator, where we are going to get the input from the what we call some other caller, which is some other Java file, where we are going to take string as input and get the string value, store it in intermediate variable, which is of type string object, and then check for nullability. Make sure that whether the input data of what we have is a null or not null, and then once we do that, then check equality part, which means what? The indicator values like what we get from the user or from the caller is 0 or 1. Can you see here? This is what exclamatory is, what not, which means we have stored input data, right? So do not call tail or indicator equal to 0, meaning what? In case if the input indicator value is not 0 and not 1, which means what? If you pass either 0 or 1, that is fine. In case of the input indicator value is other than 0 and 1, then it is going to return what? False. So that is what will be the return of this particular indicator. If you pass right indicator value, which is what? 0 or 1, then control will not enter to this particular block. So it comes out where you will see, or where it is going to return what? True, which means what? Whatever the user has supplied, those values are proper. So we don't need to what I call think on returning this false. No? So this is one indicator value. Then likewise you can build any number of methods. So there is one method, for example here, where it is taking two input arguments and a message, which means what? Simple concatenation, column first, dot, which is a static, status second, then followed by semicolon. Let us say column is ABC dot, status is 1, semicolon, which means we are just applying or concatenating multiple input columns and forming a message, which is going to be the what I call final message. So that is what you would see over here. Yeah? Fine. Now the next is what we have, what we call other function or other method we call in Java. So where checking for is empty. So get the input value, which is going to be the string value, and check for nullability. See whether the value equals null, and trimming. After trimming, if this value equal to 0, which means what? If one of them or is there, right? Or means what? If one of them is going to return true, which is either it is a null or length equal to 0, then the boolean return value is going to be true, or else it will be false. Remember. So just like what I call empty check we are doing. So likewise we can build n number of common methods depending upon the kind of functionality that is needed in order to build your own new plunge functionality. You know? Now we know what this particular guide does. Now in order to make those common methods available within this your own user defined class with the CV address, what we need to do is we need to use the extends keyword, which means what? Using extends keyword within the Java, what it does, we can extend the functionality of what we have, what it call in this particular class, which means we can derive whatever methods that we have, we can access over here. Yeah. On top of that, we can also override if needed, or else we can only make use of it. Yeah. Now let us start getting into this particular class implementation. Like how are we going to what we call build new functionality. Remember, let me just talk about high level. First, we need to take care of get descriptor method, which means this method will be used in order to what we call take care of reading the input parameters from the hub console and writing the parameter values to the hub console. These are the two things we do within this get descriptor method, right? Now, there is another method which is what? Clunch method, which will be used in order to build actual functionality. So this is a method where we are going to spend or we have to spend a lot of time in order to build your own clunch functionality. Remember, yeah? So let us, that's a high level part, right? Only two methods you need to remember. One is a clunch, other is a get descriptor. In order to build these two, we can what you call build common class if you want, or else it's optional. If you don't want, you can also build it here. Only thing is we need to make the code more modular, maintainable, right? To do that, it is always advisable to build a common class with common methods in it. Yeah? And then define what we call global constants here. Yeah? Which means what? The scope of this, what we call constants like address line 1, city name, start date, end date. These are the what I call 4 constants that we are going to use throughout this particular code. In case if you want to reuse these constants across multiple methods within this Java class, right? Then go with this defining these constants, or else we don't need to do that. Yeah. So in Java, final indicates a constant, static is within this particular file scope. Private means what? This what I call constants will not be accessible outside this particular class. Yeah? Which means actual values address line 1, which we are going to use instead of address line 1, we are going to use this particular constant. Yeah? Now let us get into the actual functionality. Get descriptor method, where we have to read the input of what we call ports or input parameters from the user. Remember, as we discussed earlier, every clunch function would require what? Input ports and output ports, right? So input parameters and output parameters, or input columns, output columns. Now in this case we have what? There are 4 input ports, namely address line 1, city name, start date and end date. These are the 4 input parameters of what we have over here. Yeah? So this is just a template. We just need to copy paste and use this what I call input ports. Yeah? Depending upon the type. If you are going to deal with a string, then use string parameter method, which we discussed in this BDDC function, right? If you go and look at here, you'll have string parameter method. which takes what? 2 input arguments that you need to pass from here. So you can see here, right? Address line 1, this is going to be the description, like what this particular column or field is going to do. And then we are trying to add this particular parameter to a descriptor object, which means what? Where do you get this descriptor? We can see in this particular line where there is a class function descriptor. From where we got this? Because we imported this particular class from Cyprian API package that we discussed, right? So because of that, this particular class is available. If you don't import it and if you don't put it in a class path, you'll get an error saying that undefined or whatever. No? Then this line is what we call instantiation of a class, which is a class function descriptor class, or creation of object out of class function descriptor class. Yeah? So we have what we call descriptor object created here. Yeah? Now once you create, we have what we call memory allocated for it. Once you have memory, then we can populate data to that particular memory block. This is the starting point. Here this is just the name and description. If you want, you can set it, or else it's optional. Then these are the important things which is mandatory. For every parameter, we have to use descriptor dot get inputs, which means get inputs from the console and add it to this particular descriptor object, which means we are populating descriptor object for different input ports, address line 1, city name, start date, and end date. Yeah. And once we do that, we got the what I call data from the previous class function up, let's say from the landing table. Once we do that, what do we do as part of class function? Yeah, that is where we need to get into this particular method, where we need to understand like how are we going to build new class functionality. Yeah, here we have what I call every class function. You will have input and output ports, right? In this particular example, we have what? There are 3 output ports, namely address line 1, city name, and validation status. These are the what I call constants that we discussed. Address line 1 we have, city name we have here, validation status we can have it either here or we can also have it here. Can you see here? Because we have derived this particular class. So that is why this is the scope of this particular what I call constant is available in derived class also, because protected, which means what? We can derive, which means we can use this particular constant in the derived classes also. So derived class here is what? CV address. So we can make use of this particular property over here. Yeah? Now the next is what we need to understand, like how are we going to what I call populate values to this output ports, namely address line 1, city name, and validation status. To do that, we use what we call class method, where we need to implement this what I call new functionality. Yeah? Where you can see here uppercase, remember. So uppercase method will be used in order to read the input and start what I call populating the data to address line 1, which means what? This method if we call, then the control will be sent to this particular block where this uppercase has been defined, which takes what? 3 input arguments, where map input, map output, and string, right? We are just passing these things over here, right? Once we pass, we are going to read this input data and check for nullability and convert these two what you call uppercase. This is the actual Java method which will be used to convert lowercase characters to the uppercase. Remember. Yeah? So which means we are just reading it and then checking for nullability, which means if you have passed what you call some data, then what it does is it is going to populate the data to this output object, which is what? Map type, right? Then what I call, we are just converting this to uppercase and then store it onto what I call field and put it in output object. So this object, which is of type map, would contain converted value, which is uppercase. So this is what? So uppercase, it has been converted where this data to this particular address line 1 is done. Yeah? Now the next is what? Same procedure need to be repeated even for city name, which means we are trying to read the data from city name and get it converted to the uppercase. Yeah? So that's what you will see over here. Yeah? And once we know that, then these two values, which is address line 1 and city name, population has been done, which means what? Conversion from lowercase to uppercase is going to take place. Yeah? So that's it. These two methods are done. Once we do that, next step is going to be what? We have what we call start date, end date. Because we have validation status, right? In order to populate the data to this validation status, what do we need? We are going to take two input parameters, namely what I call start date and end date. These are the two input parameters that we are going to read from the hub console, which means Cleanse function inputs are these two, and then output is going to be what? Validation status. Yeah, that's what you will see here, right? Now let us see like how to populate data to that. To do that, first we need to read the data from what I call input, which is a start date, and store it under the intermediate variable, and end date, store it under the intermediate variable. This is which is of what I call date type, because we are dealing with the date, right? And then for this date, we need to import this particular what I call utility class, which is date. Then only what I call, you don't get any error here. That is why we have this date. Similarly, map, which means in case if you want to use this map, this is class, we need to import it. You know? That's a basic part, which means like this anyway you'll have it. We just need to know how to import packages. If you just specify Java util.star or util.specific class, both are same. Only thing is, it is always advisable to use specific class name, so that it will be much faster, yeah, compared to star. Star means it needs to go and search all the classes, and whenever it finds, and then what I call symbol will be resolved. Yeah. Now we know like how to read start date and end date. Once you do that, the next step is going to be what? We need to start understanding, checking for nullability, which means see whether the start date is not equal to null, end date is not equal to null. Yeah. Plus, this is a main thing. See whether the start date is after end date, which means start date is greater than end date. These are the what you call predefined methods. In date, this is a date type, right? So after, you will have it in Java, and checking for end date, which means see whether start date is greater than end date. That's what is meant by this particular block. Yeah? Now, in case if that is the case, which means either start date is equal to null, end date is not null, and start date is greater than end date, then the control enters onto this particular block, which means what? We have got the wrong input, because we don't expect start date should be greater than what? End date, right? Start date should always be less than end date. Yeah? If it all happens, then we are just populating the status, which is a string buffer which can be varied. Yeah? So where we have what I call get status item. From where we got this? If you go and look at here, we talked about get status item here, right? Which is just, or which we are going to use this just to form a message. That's all, nothing else, which is error message. So start date and start date after end date, just a static message. So we are going to form start date dot start date after end date semicolon. That's what is a message that will be formed based on this particular line. Yeah? That's it. Then after that, we need to populate this output object, which is going to be the important thing, no? Which is what? Mapping output. That will contain complete output which will be understood by hub console, which contains what? The first is what? Put onto this validation status, which is going to be this one. Then status dot toString. From where you got this? This one. In case if the start is not greater than end date, right? Control will not enter here. Status will be empty. This will be empty. Validation status is empty, which means what? The input values of what we got from the hub console, they are proper. Yeah. So that's what it means. So which means this is basically we are using this output port to convert from lowercase characters to uppercase characters, and city name will be used again to convert lowercase to uppercase, and validation status where we are going to use it in order to what I call check the date is okay or not, which means is that input date values of what has been supplied from the hub console, whether they are okay or not, which means make sure that start date is greater than less than end date. If it is greater than end date, throw message, error message. This is the one. If not, empty, which means what? Everything is fine. So this is what we need to do as part of writing Clun's functionality. Yeah. In case if we don't know like a Java, what we need to do is we just need to ask Java guys to implement this particular method and this particular method, which is just a simple input output, and you can just ask them to build a class file and jar file, so that you just need to know how to import, which I am going to talk about it now. Yeah, there is a question from what I call Vinay. How will this code be used in front of Tula? In front-end Tula? Okay. So this I'm going to talk about it, which means how are we going to use it, right? Just like integration, I'm going to talk about that, Vinay. So now we know how to write new Clun's functionality. This is the main method where we need to implement. Once we do that, next step is going to be what? We need to compile this. After compilation, you will have what I call class files created. Can you see here? For every Java file, you will have corresponding class file. I repeat, for every Java file, you will have what we call class file. Yeah. So now once we do that, third step, which means now we know how to write a Java code, how to compile by using a JavaC compiler, or you can use Eclipse or some other IDE through which you can compile. After that, third step is what? We need to go to this particular location and create what I call jar file, which means what? Jar means what? Java archive, where we are going to archive this n number of class files. Let us say clunch.jar from all the class files. So jar is not there here. No? So what we can do is java hyphen jar, no? And then actually we should use jar here. So jar is not there. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that this we have somewhere in order to archive it. Let us look at where we have that. Go to this particular location where you will have a jar. Can you see here? Wherever there is a JDK, you will have a jar. Can you see here? This is the jar file, jar executable actually. Now we can supply this location and say jar, right? And then followed by rest. Rest is what? CF, compress and forcefully, force option, and then clunch dot jar from all the class files in this particular location. So that's it. Now we can go back to this particular location. Can you see here? There is a clunch.jar which has been created now. Or we already have one pre-built what I call jar file. Both are same. You know? Like whatever we have built it now, which is same as what we have over here, which is under build folder. Now the next step is yours. So this is what would be done by whom? This is what would be done by whom? This guy, who Java developer. Now what we need to do is we need to know like how to integrate this particular jar file within the MDM hub. Yeah? So that's what I call I am going to talk now. Which means what? How are we going to integrate this particular jar file to this MDM hub? Yeah? To do that, go to MDM hub console, yeah, and acquire a lock. Go to clunch functions tool and get it integrated. That is what we are going to do. Now this part you need to know. So Java part, like whatever was discussed so far, that is going to be the optional part. If you want, you can, or else you can just ask Java team to take care of that. You know? That is why MDM, especially informatic MDM, if we have a Java knowledge, which is going to be an added advantage. Not only here, I will talk about some more areas where there is a knowledge of Java is needed. Now, let us get into clunch functions tool, where you can right click on this and select what you call Java library. So far we have already discussed about user library, where we talked about graphical function, regular expression, clunch list, right? Now we are talking about what I call how to build, or how to get the third-party functionality from the Java code. For that, select Java library, browse to a location where you have this particular jar and select and say open. Can you see here? This is what I call simple user defined what I call Java function. Yeah? So that's what you will see here. Yeah? Fine. New or user defined clunch function. That's it. Now say OK. So this is what will be done as part of integration. This part is very simple. Now you can see, right, all the classes of what we have discussed. One class only we discussed, rest of them will be same as what we discussed with one class. So this is what we discussed. CV address, right? Yes sir. Where we can go and look at that what this class, which is CV address class, right? This is a Java file we discussed, right? So same class or same thing can be seen here, which is in the form of what? Cluns function, which means complete class, which is CV address class, has been converted to simple cluns method. Now what we need to do is we need to pass input parameters and get corresponding out parameters gets populated. 1 minute. Looks like there is some GoToMeeting problem. I'll just reconnect it. Yeah, now we can see, right? Now there are four input parameters, right? Address line 1, city name, start date, end date. Where do you see them? Go and look at here, one-to-one mapping I'm explaining. Address line 1, city name, start date, end date. So we have used these constants. Can you see here? 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the what I call input parameters. Remember. Yeah? Now the next step is going to be what? We need to talk about out parameters. Yeah? So that is what need to be discussed. These are the what we call three out parameters, which is address line 1, city name, validation status. Where do you see that? Here, function outputs. Address line 1, city name, validation status. That's it. So these are the inputs, outputs. Now, once you integrate after this, usage of this particular cluns function is straightforward, which is similar to what we discussed with other cluns functions. For example, let us test it here before we start calling this particular cluns function within what mapping. Yeah? So let us start doing that, where we have CV address. You can pass, let us say, some address line or whatever you want. Let's say simple address. Now if you just say test, as per the Java code, what is it doing? So it is going to take this input and populate the output. In between, what it does? Uppercase, which means convert lowercase characters to uppercase. Here we pass lowercase, right? Then click on test. In outputs, you will have what I call uppercase characters. Can you see here? This is address, which is in uppercase. Yeah? So that's what you will see. Similarly, if you pass city, some city name, let's say HYD, whatever, click on test, it will be converted to uppercase. So these are the two inputs. So where we can see second uppercase functionality. Now third is this block, which is what validation status, right? So which is validation status. For that, we need to pass these two inputs, which is start date and end date. Now let us get into this where we can pass start date which is 12th and end date which is greater than 12 so that it will be empty. If you look at this particular Java code, in case the start date is after end date, then only control will enter here, or else it will come out from this block and populate the data to this output object with a status of empty. Yeah. Now here if you just test it also, it will be empty because the input dates of what is supplied, they are valid. In case if you want to get into invalid case, let us say end date is less than what I call start date, which means 11th is less than 12th, right? September. If you test it now, then what will happen? You will get error message saying that start date is after end date, which means what? This block is going to get executed. So start date is this. Where do you see that? You will see that as part of this particular get status item where we have start date which is a column and then dot which is going to be the constant value followed by status. Status is what? You get it from second argument which is start date after end date. Yeah? Forming a message. After that you will have semicolon which is going to get appended. Yeah? So then you will see that message over here. Can you see here start date dot start date after end date semicolon. This is going to be the error message. So that is what happens with what I call hub console, where you will see what I call all the options of what is required to build a new plunge function from a scratch and get it what I call implemented and integrate with this MDM Hub console. Remember, these are the several things you need to remember while building a new plunge functionality by using a Java. 1. Get the template, import libraries which is jar files like Cyprian API.jar, Cyprian common.jar and log4j and get them added to the class path. And third step, build your own what you call plunge functionality by building what? Implementing get descriptor method and plunge method. Then next step is what? Generate class files by compiling these Java files. And then third step is what? Build jar file which is an archive of multiple class files. That's it from Java side. Once you do that, fourth step is going to be what? Import. How do you do that? This part you need to know very well. Go to plunge functions tool, right click, add Java library. Browse to a location where you have a jar file and supply that description and what you call name. Once you do that, there is a new category which appears as part of this plunge functions where you can see the corresponding plunge functions of what we have built within the Java code and supply input parameters and get it validated by using a test. Once we do that, then we can get into what we call mapping where we can also call this plunge function like what we discussed with other plunge functions. That's all we have with respect to new plunge functionality. Yeah. Now go to this particular user defined Java function and select CV address so that you will see here with what we call inputs, different input ports. Can you see here address line 1, city name, start date, end date. These are all what? Input ports. And there are 3 output ports, address line 1, city name, validation status. Now we can pass what we call any constants if you want, or else you can also take the input ports from the landing table and get it connected to this particular what I call CV address so that we can start making use of these things within what we call Clance function. That's it. Yeah. So we can also pass what we call dates as constants or whatever, or we can get it from the source. Yeah. Yeah. Now let us say start date is this and end date is also same. Let us say. Now get it connected to what I call output ports. One is what? Let us say C3, which is going to be the address line 1, city name, which is going to be C2, and third is what? Validation status, which will not work. Yeah. Now we have what I call map to output ports. That's it. Now get it saved. So these are the steps that we need to follow in order to what I call integrate and start making use of it. And final step is what? Execute this particular stage job so that data will be transferred from learning to staging with this particular Clance functionality. So these are the what I call sequential steps that we need to follow in order to integrate new Clance functionality which was built within what we call Java code to this MDM hub. Yeah. So that's it about what we call this new functionality. Now we can log on to this particular ORS, yeah, and get it what we call validated C3 from C underscore STG underscore SFA. Can you see here? Now it has been converted to uppercase. Now you will see one more C2. Here also it is converted C2 or C1, whatever. So it should be converted to lowercase. And other is what? Empty, because dates of what is supplied, they're all fine, but still going on. Yeah. So after the completion of that, you will see the output. So that is what will happen with what I call integration